Good evening, YouTube, internet perusers, and all the above who access social media. I'm your host, Elder J.L. And I just got something on my mind. I want to spit to all the young people, especially here in the central Illinois area, Champaign-Urbana exact, my hometown where I'm from, the 217. Kind of want to talk about where I left off Sunday morning, what I preached at Grove Street C.O.G.I.C for our graduates that had graduated recently from high school. And you can also, and I'll put the link down there after this is over, you can see a snippet of the sermon. But I don't know, if I had to make a topic about what these talks would be, I guess I would call them spitting off the top of my head. And you'll probably see more of these pop up in the future, but right now this is the first one. And so like I was saying, I want to talk about what I left off Sunday morning when I was telling our graduates from high school and stuff, coming out the book of Ecclesiastes chapter 12. And I'll just read a short snippet of it and then talk to you guys. And it says this, it says, "Remember now your Creator in the days of your youth, for the difficult days come, and the years draw near when you say, I have no pleasure in them, while the sun and the light and the moon and stars are not darkened, and the clouds do not return after the rain." And then I'm going to jump down to verses 10 through 14. It says, "The preacher sought to find acceptable words. What was written was upright words of truth. The words of the wise were like goads, and the words of scholars are like well-driven nails given by one shepherd. And further, my son, be admonished by these, of making many books where there is no end, and much study is wearisome in the flesh. Let us hear the conclusion of the whole matter. Fear God and keep his commandments, for this is man's all. For God will bring every work into judgment, including every secret thing, whether good or evil." That's the book. So basically where I left off, and what I'm trying to get you guys to understand, and I'm talking to the young people, those who are under the age of 25, still in high school, in college, middle school, trying to find themselves, is that we're living in a day and a time of society where, you know, it's cool to do this, it's cool to do that, it's cool to be homosexual, it's cool to do drugs, it's cool to post all of your emotions and drama on Facebook. It's just cool to do whatever the mass is doing and the majority is doing, that's what everybody's doing. And I kind of see this, you got a lot of people who are just joining in just so they can be a part of what's going on, and not solely knowing who they really are or what their identity is. And basically that's what it all boils down to. And that's what Solomon's also trying to tell us here, that just about everything that we do, especially as young people, is vanity. What's vanity mean? It's foolishness. It basically means it's been done. There's nothing new under the sun that has not been done. There are just different forms and different ways of doing things now. But everything that's taking place now in our schools and what people do in society has been happening for years back. And we see it as a new thing, but it's just a new form of how it's been presented. And the main thing I want to stress to the young crowd, and especially here targeting the city I'm from here, Champaign-Urbana, is that you got a lot of brothers and sisters who are looking for something. They're trying to find themselves. They're trying to find out where do I need to go, what do I need to do. Even for the graduates, you know, I just got out of high school. Am I going to go to college? Do I need to go to college? Where do I want to go to college at? Do I want to go to another state? Do I want to stay here? Do I want to go somewhere far away? All these questions start to come to mind to the young individual as they begin to hit maturity and come to a different age. You're trying to figure out who you are, what you want to do, how you want to do things, how you want to go about stuff, who do you want to hang out with, who do you want to get rid of, who do you want to be in love with, do you want to be in love, do you want to lose your virginity, should I keep my virginity? I mean, there's so many questions bombard our minds, and so many things are stuck in our hearts. And the best thing I can tell you guys is to have a relationship with Christ. And and solely I'm not on here to preach or to hoop a holler and anything like that, but I'm just here to talk. That what I have found, me being 21 years old in college, pursuing a bachelor's degree in broadcast and a minor in biblical studies down in Springfield, Missouri at Evangel University, is that when I was younger, like 13, I found my identity because I found Christ. And even solely before I found Christ, I've always had it in my mind and heart to be to be a leader and to be an example. Not to follow what everybody else is doing. Not to be in with the Joneses and doing what that crowd does. I mean, to the point, like, if everybody decided today that they wanted to jump off a cliff, would you go jump off a cliff? Think about it. We'll do drugs with people. We'll go have sex with people. We'll go party with folks and stuff like this. But some of the real rash things out there, what if everybody decided they wanted to go jump off a cliff or commit mass suicide or something? Could you honestly say, would you take a part in that, or would you think, you'd be like, hold on, wait a minute, that don't sound right, that don't sound good, or I like my life, or, you guys are crazy. And if you think about it in that kind of way, you think about the things that you're doing now. Because Solomon tells us that at the end of it all, whether you don't believe in Christ or not, everything comes into judgment, whether good or bad. Everything. That's Ecclesiastes chapter 12. Everything that we do done in this body comes to an end and comes into judgment. And I've always heard old people say, hopefully my good outweighs my bad. But as a young person, today you have a choice. Today you can make up in your mind, how am I going to live my life? Do I want to live my life to where people know about me? Who I was? Was I a great person? Was I nice to people? Was I kind? Was I loving? Was I respectful to people? Or was it opposite of that? Was I mean to folks? Was I a bully? Did I hurt folks? Did I say mean things? Did I put people down? What do you want people to say about you? Think about it. And as you think about it, the time, especially as you're watching this right now, you have a time and a chance to change. If you're doing things that aren't right, you have a chance to get it together now. And somebody's probably looking at me saying, well, I don't want to. I like what I'm doing. Or you don't understand where I'm coming from. You don't know my story. You don't know what I've been through. Excuse the train in the background. You don't know what he did to me or she did to me. Regardless of what your past is, and regardless of who hurt you, who abused you, or whatever, you're stuck in the now. That was then. That was the past. The past is over. You'll always have memories. You'll probably always have scars for the remembrance. But understand that you use that to catapult you into your future. So as you have the things that have happened to you in your past, maybe you haven't told anybody about, maybe many people don't know, or maybe people do know. Or maybe it's plastered all over the social media, I don't know. But as you're in the now, make that preparation of who you want to be. what you want to do and how you want to do it for your future. Because some of y'all want to be parents one day. Some of y'all want to be lawyers and doctors, and you have dreams and aspirations that you want to do and accomplish, and goals on the inside of you. And so right now, you start to work that craft. You start to get that together. And when you have a made up mind and a fixed heart to do something, I'm going to tell you this, nothing will deter you from getting done what you need to be done. I'm a prime example. At 21, I was adamant about doing something with my life. When I was younger, at first I didn't think I would go to college. But then there were people that pushed me, people that uplifted me, and it might be the problem with some of the young people nowadays. They might not have anybody to push them in their corner, or, to say, hey, you can do this, hey, you can be somebody, hey, I believe in you, I'm counting on you, and something like that. And if you don't, I know a man that can. His name is Jesus. But you can do it. Whatever you want to do, you can do. As long as it's respectable and responsible within the right parameters. But don't let society define who you are. Your friends don't define who you are. Who you're in a relationship with does not define who you are. You can define who you are. But most of all, it's even better if you let Jesus define who you are. Then you got more confidence. But if you don't even take that step to let Jesus define who you are, you define who you are. Don't let society define you. Don't let people around you define you. Because whatever mama and daddy did, you don't have to do. You have the pen in your hand, and you get to write your own story. You get to write your own book. The outcomes that come your way, you're the one that gets to change those things. Those situations that arise within front of you, you have the ability to overcome those obstacles and to get through. It's up to you. You got the tools, you got the knowledge, and whatever you're in right now, you can handle it. Because trust me, if you could not handle it, it would have consumed you a long time ago. Even to the ones who are on the brink of wanting to take their own lives and commit suicide and just call it quits. Oh, hang in there. Stand strong. It only lasts a while. Nighttime is just a little bit of what it is, but the day is going to break. The Bible tells us, weeping may endure for a night, but joy cometh in the morning. And if you could just hold on until the morning tide, you're going to have another chance to come through the midst of that adversity, come through that situation, and come through that storm. And I'm telling you, when you put that under the notch of your belt, and you can say, I've been through this, I've been through that, I've seen this, I've seen that, I've been ridiculed, I've been lied on, I've been talked about, and everything. But in the midst of all that's happened to me, I let it become like water off a duck's back and just go over my shoulder. Because I'm determined to be somebody. I'm determined to do something. I'm determined to go somewhere. You might not know what it is, but there's a determination and a hunger on the inside of you. And if you just keep on feeding it with the right stuff, you can make it. And remember that everything that we do comes in the judgment later. Everything we do has consequences. So if you're in the wrong things, think before you act next time. If you're doing something that's not right, that don't feel right, or it's not molding you as a person or something you can be proud of, think next time before you indulge in it. Because everything comes in the judgment, whether good or bad. We all have consequences. When you grew up and you broke a rule that your mom and dad had set, what happened? You probably got a whooping. You had a consequence. But you had a choice not to break that rule. And so it goes with everything in life. There are rules, there are regulations, and there are consequences. And we just have to be careful But most of all, I want you guys to understand that you can be a leader and not a follower. You can be an example for somebody else who is probably not even in the same vote as you, or maybe even just a little bit lower. But you can be a help to somebody just by who you are, what you do, and how you do things. And sometimes it ain't about what you say, but just how you are as a person can speak a lot more better than words. And I'm going to end with this. There was a girl, I was on the internet earlier, and she had been in the foster system about all her life. And she got adopted once, but at her age, I think the age of 12, she was abused. And so she was taken out of the home and put back in the system. And then, you know, when you turn 18, they spit you out of the system. And for her 18th birthday, she put out a Craigslist posting wanting to rent a family for her birthday. She had never really had a birthday party, nor a family at all. And what are you saying, JL? I'm saying that there's always somebody worse off than you. You might have it bad. I'm not saying that you don't. You might have it bad. I've had it bad for it too. But there's always somebody worse off than you. And keep that in the back of your mind. There's always somebody worse off than you.
Before the world was formed,